Hey, welcome to another update on Archmage Rises. I am giving you a, hopefully short update on where things are at with Archmage Rises. So, I wish I was working on Archmage Rises right now. So, it's progressing, but I'm not actually actively working on it. So, it's going to take me a few minutes to kind of unpack that. So, in June, we started a work for hire contract to create one game. That's fine. If you're new to this, I've been self-financing Archmage Rises for 7 years now, and it's really hard. I'm running out of money. I haven't had any spending money for almost 7 years because everything that I make goes into the game. And recently, I took on teaching, and one of my investments is doing okay. So they gave me enough money to hire 2 people, Daniel and Michael, and the 3 of us were working on it. Daniel too came in, and he was helping us with it. But still, no money left at the end of each month. Still a little bit going in the hole each month. So I had some contract work lined up for this summer. It fell through. Friend of mine that used to work at Santa Monica Studios started at a new studio. They needed some help in order to make a game that he was designing, and so I said, yeah, sure, let's do that. So we started making one game. Then they said, wow, you guys are really good and really awesome. I mean, you already knew that, but anyway, they said, you're really good. We have another game, can you make that game too? And I have to admit, it's nice having money, so I said yes. When that happened, we then had everybody here at the studio working on that game. And then I hired another guy, Tyler, which you just met last time, and he started working on that game. So there's 5 of us, Daniel, Michael, Thomas, Tyler, and Josh. And all 5 of us are doing this work for hire. The plan was do work for hire and work on Archmage at the same time. So then we have Ruby, which you haven't met yet, and I should probably do one of those interview videos with Ruby. But anyway, Ruby is a concept artist, production artist, and technical artist, and she's supposed to be working on the combat art and special effects for the combat. And so she did, and then it was like, man, we really need some, placeholder artwork, just like some prototypey artwork in order to work on these 2 games that we're now working on for the client. And so I said, hey, I got somebody that can do that. It would go really quick if we could just get her to do some things. So it was like, yeah, okay, she'd work 3 days a week on the client, work for hire, and 2 days a week she would continue working on the technical art for visual effects for Archmage. That went for about 6 weeks, and then it was like, hey, can we just have Ruby full-time? So now Ruby's working full-time. So now I got 6 full-time people working for the client. And then James, who has been working on the audio of the game, and maybe you know him, there's an interview with him from a long, long time ago, because I was interviewing everybody on the game, and James was the first person I hired on the game. I hired an audio guy before I hired an artist. So James was looking for his next thing, and I was like, you know what, he would be a really great fit here at the studio. Let's bring him in full-time. He could do an awesome job on the audio experience of Archmage Rises. We could have an amazing audio experience to put in that kind of time. So he could do a good job, contract, just working by the hour. But if we just bring him in full time, he works on it for an entire year. That would be great. So knowing that I had the money coming from the work for hire, we can hire James full time, and he's going to work in Archmage Rises. And these 2 games that we're making for the client, they don't have any audio. And I keep asking the client, like, what's going on with the audio? Like, I was talking about music, sound effects, voiceover, barks, all kinds of things. Who's going to be doing that? Who's going to be doing that? And they said, no, we don't want James to be doing that. I had put his name up before as an option, somebody to contract. They said, no, we don't want to work with him. We're looking for somebody else, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay. So it was the day before James starts. And then I said, okay, looks like you're going to be working on Archmage. You'll be the only one working on Archmage, but that's okay. I can give you some direction for the feels and what we need, and then I could give you wonderful people a wonderful update on Archmage Rises. Hey, look at the progress. Look, we may not be actually programming on it right at this moment, but there's these other things that are progressing. He worked on Archmage Rises for 15 minutes on his first day, and then the client contacted me and said, hey, can James do all the audio and music and voiceover for the 2 games you're working on? And I said, yes. So, now that's 7 of us that are all working full-time on this thing. Then I get contacted by the client. There's a lot of them. There's like 30 of them or whatever at the client. So there's producers and animators and designers and platform people. There's like all kinds of people. So I deal with a lot of people. Anyway, so the head of the studio says, hey, our first game we have to release December 15th. And then we have another one we have to release on, because there's 2 games on mid to late January. So if you need some help in finishing that off, it's okay to add like another person to the project. And I was like, okay. I was thinking about it. I'm like, I don't think we really need another. I think we're in a tight spot right now, but I think it's going to get better. I don't think we actually need to add another full-time person to it. Anyway, some time goes by, and it's like, oh man. There's like always more work than there are hands. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. So then I looked at somebody that I was looking at as an engineer, but they also have an art side, so they can also do concept art and such. So his name's Raul, and it didn't look like it was going to be a fit to bring him on. Especially, I wanted to hire him because I want to have one programmer working on Archmage, but him working by himself on Archmage didn't look like a good idea. So I passed on doing that. But him coming and joining the rest of us working on these 2 client games, that would work out. So I said to the client, hey, yeah, you know what? We'll hire him as a support engineer just to kind of help the other developers. When I say developers, it makes it sound like coders, or it does to me. But other developers are like the animators and the art director and people having Git problems and the level designers having questions about certain features. Audio hooks aren't firing. There's just all this like support work that goes into supporting a large team of 30 people. And the only reason we're taking these work for hire is because I think that it's good for us. I have not worked. The largest software project I've worked on was 22 people. There's 22 people in IT working on the thing. And I know what that looked like and felt like. And we had like 2 graphic designers, I think, that were doing all the web interface stuff. And then it was all programmers from there. And now to be working on a team of, I don't know, it's like 30, 35, 40 people. And you have one person, their sole job is storyboards. And another person's sole job is character animation. Another person's sole job is I don't know, like level design or whatever. Like just, I come from an indie space where you wear a lot of hats and like there's a few people doing a lot of different jobs. And now we're working on this team with like 30 something people with all these specialists coming out of AAA. And it's good for us. It's good for us to learn their techniques, their ways of doing things, the AAA way of doing things, the level of polish that they bring. It's good to learn that. So we're learning all kinds of things about spine and visual effects and layering and Unity and camera stuff and Cinemachine and timelines and like all kinds of stuff. So anyways, that's going really good. Okay, so anyway, so I was like, okay, let's bring in Raul, which I'll interview and you can meet him. So we'll bring in Raul and things will go smoother. Things, you know, it's tight deadline. This only makes it easier. Client's like, great, let's do it. So I talked to Raul some on Thursday, and then I hire him on Friday, and then I go away for the weekend, and it's his first day on Monday, and Daniel quits. So Daniel's decided to leave the studio. He's going off to do business software, and the reason is because you make more money doing business software than you do in games. So long, good luck. He was the first person that I hired after I took a hiatus and said, you know what? I need a team. I need to start doing this. And he was the first person to come here, and we worked together for 2.5 years, and I appreciate his contribution to Archmage and these work for hire projects, but he wants to go on and do other things. So Goodbye. Now we are down a guy. So it's a good thing we hired a support guy. So it's like, and so, yeah, we're back to, I guess, being 7 full-time people working on this work for hire. So every month that we work on the work for hire projects is a month in the bank. And that month in the bank allows us to work on Archmage, the whole team of 7 or 8, in order to finish out Archmage Rises. So that's what I mean by saying we're progressing, but we're not actively working on it. So up until this point, we've only had 3 people working on it and a little bit of contract. I can't wait for the day when all of us in the studio are all just focused on finishing Archmage. And our skills are going to be leveled up having to do this. I know I said the same thing last year at this time. It was true. We came in, we worked on Archmage, we finished off the combat stuff. Well, we finished a lot of it. There's still the audio work and the visual effects, and there's some artwork to do. But anyway, we did come back and better for it, and now we're doing it again. So when are we going to get to actually working on Archmage? I don't know. I am actively recruiting, trying to find people that are local, that fit with the culture here, and so I have 2 candidates. They're all across the world, which creates huge time zone issues. But there's, anyways, 2 serious candidates that I'm talking to. And my hope is to be able to replace Daniel and go back to having 4 programmers and a support programmer all working on these client things. And then to hire another person, hopefully maybe a senior developer, to be able to come in. And now we can start to have some programming progress on Archmage again. So, yeah, I'm still building the studio. That is the update, and it's nice to have some money at the end of each month in the bank account after I pay for everybody and everything. It's really nice. And if you've been watching these updates for a while, you may have noticed that I fixed my tooth. It bothered me on the white balance of the webcam, how it really made my dead tooth look like really terrible. So anyways, if you're like, wow, nice guy, but sure is ugly with that broken, busted tooth, I finally had some money to go to the dentist and get my tooth fixed. So if nothing else, that's the only thing that's been achieved, and that's how it affects Archmage Rises. I will now have nice teeth going forward for all the future updates. And if you never noticed, then forget what I just said. Okay, so I think about Archmage every single day. I'm not kidding about that. Every single day. And I'm still making design notes in my phone when I get out of the shower or whatever. Like, I have a lot of thoughts and such, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great, but right now I need to build up the bank account in order to finish this thing. I don't know how big Defiance is going to get. This is a crazy ride. Some of you have been on this ride for 7 years. It was just me. Then it was Nick. Then it was me and Nick. And then it was just me again. And now 7, and we're on our way to 10 and 12, and I don't know where it's going to end up, but I will keep the updates coming as I can. And today's Saturday, and I'm working today and a whole bunch of things. So we have a new office which is being built because I need to stick all these people somewhere because they don't fit in my basement anymore. My basement office, which is pretty nice, but we are maxed out at 4 people. So yeah, we'll see where this goes. But one thing is for sure, we are going to finish Archmage. I just can't tell you when, but doing everything I can in order to finish it. Okay, thank you for watching the updates and for being a fan. I appreciate it so much. That's why we're going to finish Archmage, because there's actually thousands of you watching these things that are interested in, hey, is this, I call it Playable Dwarf Fortress. Archmage Rises is Playable Dwarf Fortress. So there's a lot of people that are like, hey, this is a really revolutionary role-playing game. I want to see this thing. I want to play it. So do I. So working on it, and I will keep you up to date. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.